The mugs I got from charity shops, and I think I got one in Block Market. This one, which is a Meakin, which is King George and Queen Mary. It's their Silver Jubilee, which is 25 years of marriage, and that's probably out of the three the most collectible because it's Meakin.
We've got another Charles and Diana one there. Where did you find that one? Can you remember?
This, I think, was Kidney Research, I think, just on Albany Road.
It was a charity shop there.
Yeah, it's a charity shop. Mugs particularly functional, so you can have them out and so people can see them and stuff. And then there's always the chance that they are accumulating value, and I think that appeals to people. But I think mainly it's to do with the commemorative stuff, with just that whole nostalgia thing, and being able to place yourself sort of in the past, you know, where you can remember where you were that day, and that kind of thing appeals to people's sense of nostalgia, I think. It's a house, we got this in a house clearance, and it was going in the bin basically, but it's Charles and Diana's, the first time that they visited Wales, and it's just a kind of, that is all it is a record of their visit. When they began their royal tour in North Wales, in Deeside, and that's it. And for somebody that'll have a certain value. This is Charles and Di money box. This is another Block Market goodie, and I just love it. It's just so tacky, isn't it, really? But it's another thing that's functional, and it just takes you back, doesn't it? You know, what's it, 81, wasn't it? And that is such an 80s thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is a bit more tasteful. This is First World War, and it's the sort of the Empire handkerchief, and then it's got the Houses of Parliament and Westminster Abbey, and it's the marriage of George and Mary. Yeah. So 1910. Oh, 1910 to 1935. So that's a commemorative one as well, isn't it? I think what we'd like to do is make a kind of alternative to the kind of generic stuff that you see, you know, that you can get in the post office and on the internet. So I'd like to put together a tea set which has William and Kate on it, but also has maybe a few other memorable events for ordinary people. I'd quite like to have somebody's wedding anniversary on there, and maybe a civil partnership, and you know, somebody's birthday perhaps, and just make a little tea set with. They'll be on there, but they won't be the only ones on there. Well, I suppose there's you know, they're part of the royal family, and I think that you don't have to be a monarchist really to be interested in them. And I'm not particularly pro the monarchy, but I am quite fascinated by them. And I think the fact that they are quite a dysfunctional family is something that everyone can relate to. And you know, you look at his mum and dad here, and you know the story, and what a tragic story it is really. And I think it's like a kind of living soap opera. I've always liked vintage stuff rather than kind of contemporary fashion, but at the moment it seems to also be very trendy, and I think there is a kind of a bit of a reaction against the sort of mass-produced stuff that's coming out of the clothing industry, and the fact that you can buy things so cheaply but then they'll last about 2 washes and that's it. And some of the clothes that we have here are kind of, you know, 60, 70, 80 years old, and they're still, you know, you can see that they're beautifully made and the fabrics are of incredible quality. And I think that's one of the things, and I think people are just looking at the way that they consume. I think with this sort of collecting, it's very much, and that whole thing about gathering stuff, you know, a sort of lifetime's worth of collecting is quite a, you know, it's quite a special thing, because it kind of it provides it's like a sort of diary, you know. It gives you, they're like little tiny landmarks in your life, aren't they?